Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Convo.
Oh, don't forget to subscribe our channel and like this video.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I am Alex, and I am feeling absolutely incredible today because I am joined, as always, by my favorite travel partner in crime.
And I am Jamie. Hello to our lovely listeners out there. I have to say, Alex, you are sounding especially bouncy today. Did you finally find that perfect travel mug you were obsessing over?
I might have, but that is a secret for another time. So, Jamie, let's get right into it. What are we talking about today?
Today, we are discussing holidays and traveling with friends. But specifically, we are diving into the absolute chaos and comedy of planning a group trip without losing your mind or your best friends.
Oh man, you are hitting close to home with that one. Traveling with friends is basically the ultimate relationship test, right? It is like you think you know someone until you're stuck in a train station at 3 a.m. in a city where you do not speak the language and someone realizes they left their passport in the hotel safe 2 hours away.
Please tell me you are not talking about the great passport incident of 2018, because I have already apologized for that 1,000 times, Alex.
I am not naming any names, Jamie, but the wounds are still fresh. But seriously, there is nothing like it. When it goes well, it is the best time of your life. When it goes south, well, it is a great story for a podcast.
Exactly. And for our listeners learning English, this is such a great topic because group travel has its own entire vocabulary. You have the planner, the slacker, the person who is always lost, and the person who just wants to eat everything in sight.
I am definitely the person who wants to eat everything. If there is a street food market within a 5-mile radius, my internal GPS just automatically points me toward the smell of grilled meat and cinnamon.
We know, Alex. We all know. But let's start at the beginning. The planning phase. This is where the drama usually begins. You start a group chat, and suddenly you have 15 different opinions on where to go. One person wants a relaxing beach, another wants to climb a mountain. And there is always that one friend who just says, "I don't care, you guys decide," but then complains about every single choice you make.
The passive-aggressive traveler. That is a classic character. I feel like every group has one. You ask, "Do you want Italian or Thai for dinner?" And they say, "Oh, whatever makes you happy." Then you get to the Thai place, and they spend the whole time talking about how they are not really in the mood for spicy food.
It is the worst. But honestly, I think the planning is half the fun if you do it right. You get that initial rush of excitement. You are looking at beautiful villas or cool hostels, sending links back and forth. It feels like the world is your oyster.
The world is your oyster until you look at the budget. That is the first big hurdle. How do you handle the money talk with friends? It can be so awkward. You have one friend who wants to live like royalty and another who is counting every cent to make sure they can afford a souvenir magnet.
You have to be upfront about it. I always say, if you cannot talk about money with your friends, you probably should not be traveling across the ocean with them. You need a system. Have you ever used those apps where you split the bills?
Oh, they are lifesavers. Otherwise, you spend the last day of the trip with a calculator trying to figure out who owes who for that round of drinks on Tuesday night. It ruins the vibe. I prefer the let's just take turns approach, but that only works if everyone is actually taking turns. There's always that one guy who conveniently disappears to the bathroom when the check comes.
We call that the tactical retreat. It is a bold move, but it definitely gets you banned from the next trip. But okay, let's say you have survived the planning. You have picked a destination. Let's say Portugal. Why not? Great food, beautiful coastlines. You all arrive at the airport. This is where the personality types really come out.
You have the airport, Dad. That is me 100%. I'm the one who gets there 3 hours early, holding everyone's boarding passes, checking my watch every 5 minutes, and making sure everyone has their liquids in a clear plastic bag.
You are totally an airport dad. I can see you wearing a fanny pack and pointing at the departure board with a very serious expression. I am more of the browse the duty-free shops until the very last second traveler. I like the thrill of the final boarding call.
You are the reason I have gray hair, Jamie. Watching you look at perfumes while the gate is closing is my personal version of a horror movie. But that is the thing about friends, right? You balance each other out. If everyone was like me, we would be sitting at the gate 4 hours early staring at each other in silence. If everyone was like you, we would miss every single flight we ever booked.
True, true. Balance is key. But let's talk about the accommodation. This is a huge part of the friend trip experience. Do you go for the big shared Airbnb, or do you get separate hotel rooms?
See, the shared house is great for the late-night chats and the communal breakfasts, but it can get crowded. There's always that one person who takes a 40-minute shower when everyone else is trying to get ready to head out.
And the snoring. You never really know your friends until you have shared a room with them and realized one of them sounds like a freight train in their sleep. You are lying there at 3 a.m. wondering if it is socially acceptable to throw a pillow at their head.
I have definitely been the pillow thrower. No regrets. But there is something special about those moments too. Like when you are all squeezed into a tiny kitchen trying to cook a meal together because you spent too much money on the first 2 days and now you're on a budget. Those are the times you really bond.
I agree. Some of my favorite memories are just sitting on a balcony with a cheap bottle of local wine, laughing until our stomachs hurt over something that probably was not even that funny. It is that shared experience that you just cannot get when you travel solo.
Solo travel has its perks, sure. You can do whatever you want. But who are you going to high-five when you finally reach the top of that mountain? Who is going to help you finish that massive platter of seafood? You need witnesses to your greatness, Jamie.
Witnesses to your greatness? You are so dramatic. But you are right. Traveling alone is peaceful, but traveling with friends is an adventure. Although it is important to remember that you do not have to be together every single second of the day. That is a rookie mistake.
Oh, for sure. The 24/7 rule is a recipe for disaster. You need a little break. I always tell people it is okay to go for a walk by yourself for an hour, or go to a museum that only you are interested in. It gives you something new to talk about when you meet back up for dinner.
Exactly. If you spend every waking moment together, you start noticing the little things that annoy you, like the way your friend chews their gum, or the fact that they take 200 photos of the same monument.
I feel attacked. I like to have options for my Instagram, okay? You have to get the lighting right, the angle, the background.
Alex, we were at a trash can. You took 10 photos of a cool-looking trash can in Berlin.
It was industrial chic. It represented the soul of the city. You just do not understand art.
If that is art, I am a scientist. But speaking of photos, that is another funny thing about group travel. The designated photographer. Every group has one person who is basically the unpaid paparazzi for the rest of the trip.
And then there is the person who is in every photo but never offers to take one. They are just there, posing, living their best life, while you are crouching in the dirt trying to get their best angle.
That is why you have to establish the photo rules early on. Everyone takes a turn. Otherwise, you get home and realize you have 3,000 photos of your friends and exactly 0 of yourself.
Or you have those awkward photos taken by a stranger where your head is cut off and the background is blurry. Why is it so hard for people to take a decent photo with a smartphone these days? It is literally one button.
It is a talent, Alex. Not everyone is a pro like you. But let's move on to the actual activities. How do you decide what to do? You have the adventurer who wants to skydive, the culture vulture who wants every museum, and the lounger who just wants to sit by the pool.
It is all about the compromise. We call it the 1-for-1 rule. You come with me to this weird medieval history museum, and I will go with you to that trendy rooftop bar where the drinks cost $20.
It is a fair trade, but it is funny how people change when they are on holiday. You might have a friend who is super organized and professional at work, but the second they hit the beach, they become a total space cadet. They lose their shoes, they forget what day it is, they are just a completely different person.
I love that version of people. Holiday brain is a real medical condition, I am convinced. Your brain just turns into a smoothie. You stop worrying about emails and deadlines, and your only concern is whether the gelato shop is still open.
Holiday brain is the best, except when it leads to getting lost. Remember that time in Rome when we tried to find that specific pizzeria and ended up in a residential neighborhood 4 miles away?
To be fair, that was the GPS's fault. It kept telling me to turn left when there was clearly a wall there. But honestly, those are the best moments. Getting lost leads to the best discoveries. We found that tiny little bakery that had the best cannoli I have ever tasted in my life. We never would have found it if we knew where we were going.
That is true. Some of the best travel stories start with, well, we were completely lost, and then it adds to the narrative. If everything goes perfectly according to plan, the story is kind of boring. Oh, we went to the airport, the flight was on time, we checked in, we saw the sights, we came home. Boring.
Give me a missed train and a rainstorm any day. Well, maybe not a rainstorm if I am wearing my favorite suede shoes, but you know what I mean. It builds character, and it tests the friendship. If you can still laugh together when you are soaking wet and shivering at a bus stop, you are friends for life.
What about the packing? Are you an overpacker or a light traveler? Because when you travel with friends, the suitcase situation can be a point of contention.
I try to be a light traveler, but I always end up with a bag that is just on the edge of the weight limit. I have that fear of what if I need this specific shirt? What if we spontaneously get invited to a formal gala and I do not have my blazer?
A formal gala, Alex? Really? We are going to a hiking trail in Scotland, and you are worried about a gala?
You never know. James Bond could be there. I need to be prepared. But you are the queen of the carry-on. I do not know how you fit a week's worth of clothes into a bag the size of a shoebox.
It is all about the rolling technique and being realistic. You do not need 5 pairs of shoes. You need 2. One for walking, one for looking slightly less like a tourist. And you can always do laundry. People forget that washing machines exist in other countries.
Laundromats in foreign countries are actually kind of fun. It is like a little window into local life. You sit there, watching your clothes spin, reading a local newspaper, even if you cannot understand it. It is very cinematic.
You have a very romanticized view of doing laundry, Alex. Most people just find it annoying. But I get it. It is part of the slow travel movement. Not rushing everywhere, just being in a place.
Exactly. And that is easier to do with friends because you have someone to share the boredom with. Boredom on holiday is actually a luxury. Just sitting in a park, people watching, making up backstories for the strangers walking by.
Oh, we are masters at that. Remember that couple in Paris? The ones with the very tiny dog?
How could I forget? We decided they were international spies and the dog was actually a high-tech listening device. We spent like 2 hours tracking them through the Tuileries garden.
That is exactly what I mean. You cannot do that alone without looking a bit creepy. But with a friend, it is a fun game. It's that shared imagination that makes the trip special.
So let's talk about the food. Food is usually the biggest expense and the biggest highlight. Are you a researcher or a wanderer?
I am a bit of both. I like to have 1 or 2 must-visit spots that I have found online, but for the rest, I like to just wander until I see a place full of locals. If the menu is only in the local language and the plastic chairs are slightly uncomfortable, you know the food is going to be amazing.
That is the golden rule. If there are pictures of the food on a giant board outside, keep walking. You want the place where the grandma is in the back making the pasta by hand.
And when you are with a group, you can order the entire menu. That is the biggest perk. You do not have to choose between the seafood paella and the roasted lamb. You just get both, and everyone shares.
Unless you are traveling with someone who does not like to share. That is a deal breaker for me. If I am with someone who puts their arm around their plate like a protective fence, we are going to have problems.
Sharing is caring, especially on holiday. But you also have to deal with the foodies versus the I'll just have a burger people. That can be tricky. You are in the heart of Tokyo and your friend wants to go to McDonald's.
Oh, that hurts my soul. I mean, I love a good burger. But when you are in a culinary capital of the world, you have to at least try the local stuff. I usually give them a pass once, 1 comfort meal per trip. After that, you are eating the fermented shark or whatever the local delicacy is.
Fermented shark might be a bit of a stretch for a first-timer, but I see your point. It is about stepping out of your comfort zone. That is why we travel, right? To see things and taste things we cannot get at home.
Definitely. And it is easier to be brave when you have a friend cheering you on. Or more likely, a friend filming you with their phone while you try something weird so they can post your reaction online.
Guilty as charged. I have a whole folder of videos of you making faces at weird snacks. It is my retirement fund. I am going to sell them to the highest bidder one day.
I should have known. I am just content for your social media.
But hey, as long as I get a good meal out of it, I am happy. What about the nightlife? Are you a party until dawn person or a let's get a good night's sleep person?
I used to be the party until dawn person, but these days I am more of a 2 cocktails and in bed by midnight person. I want to be able to actually see the sights the next day without a massive headache.
I'm in the middle. I like a good night out, but I hate the feeling of wasting a whole day because I'm too tired to leave the hotel room. There's nothing worse than being in a beautiful city like Barcelona and spending the afternoon staring at the ceiling because you stayed out until 6 a.m.
It is a waste of a plane ticket. But then again, some of the best conversations happen at those 4 a.m. after parties. When everyone is a bit tired and the filters come off, you really get to the deep stuff.
That is true. The 4 a.m. philosophy sessions. You start talking about the meaning of life, your deepest fears, your dreams for the future. It is like an intensive therapy session, but with better music.
And then you wake up the next day and you were like, did I really tell you about my childhood obsession with hamsters? And your friend is like, yep, and I have it all on voice memo.
Friends are dangerous, Jamie. Very dangerous. But they are also the ones who carry your bags when you are too tired to move, and the ones who remind you to put on sunscreen when you are turning the color of a lobster.
Let's talk about the return journey. The post-holiday blues, it is such a real thing. You get home, you have a mountain of laundry, and you have to go back to work the next day. It is a brutal transition.
It is the worst. The only thing that gets me through it is looking through the photos and starting the group chat for the next trip. It starts almost immediately. We get back on Sunday, and by Tuesday, someone is already sending a link to a cabin in the mountains for next winter.
It is a cycle. You need that next thing to look forward to. But it is also nice to just sit back and appreciate the memories, even the bad ones. Especially the bad ones, actually. They are the ones that become the legends.
Like the time we got stuck in that elevator in Prague?
Oh my gosh, do not remind me. 45 minutes! We almost ran out of things to talk about.
Almost. But then you started singing 90s pop songs, and we all joined in. The people in the hallway must have thought we were losing our minds.
We were losing our minds, but we did it together, and that is the point. If I had been in that elevator alone, I would have been terrified. With you guys, it was just another ridiculous chapter in the story.
Exactly. So for our English learners, what are some of the key takeaways for traveling with friends? I think the first one is communication. Talk about the budget, the itinerary, and the expectations before you even book the flight.
Definitely. And the second one is flexibility. Things will go wrong. The weather will be bad, the flight will be delayed, or the restaurant will be closed. If you can stay positive and go with the flow, you will have a much better time.
Third takeaway, give each other space. You do not have to be joined at the hip. A little alone time makes the together time much better.
And finally, take lots of photos, but do not forget to put the phone down and actually experience the moment. A photo is great, but the feeling of the sun on your face and the sound of your friends laughing is what stays with you.
Wow, Jamie, that was actually quite poetic. Are you sure you are not a travel writer in your spare time?
I just have a lot of feelings about holidays, Alex. It is the best part of life. Exploring this big, beautiful world with the people you love. What could be better than that?
Not much, honestly. Except maybe a really good taco.
You and your food, I swear.
Hey, food is a universal language. You can go anywhere in the world, and a smile and a delicious meal will make you friends.
That is true. I have had some of my best interactions with people where we did not speak a word of each other's language, but we both agreed that the soup was fantastic.
It is those human connections that make traveling so rewarding. And when you have your friends there to share it with, it just amplifies everything. You have someone to say, hey, did you see that? Or, can you believe how beautiful this is?
It makes the world feel a little smaller and a lot friendlier. So Alex, where are we going next? I am feeling like I need a new stamp in my passport.
Well, I was looking at some flights to Japan. Imagine us in Tokyo, you looking at the fashion, me eating my way through every ramen shop in the city.
Oh, I am in, but only if you promise not to take 10 photos of every trash can we see.
I make no promises, Jamie. Art is subjective.
I knew you were going to say that. Well, I guess I better start rolling my clothes and finding my portable charger.
And I will start the spreadsheet. Group trip to Japan is officially in the works.
This is going to be epic. I can already hear the karaoke singing in our future.
Oh no, I forgot about the karaoke. I am going to need to start practicing my power ballads.
You do that, Alex. You do that. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us today. We hope this gave you some fun ideas for your next trip and maybe some new English phrases to use.
Happy travels, everyone! Whether you are going across the world or just to the next town over, make sure you bring a good friend and a sense of adventure.
And maybe a spare battery for your phone. You are going to need it for all those photos of trash cans.
Hey, they were industrial chic.
Whatever you say, Alex. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
So, seriously, Japan?
100%. I have already bookmarked 5 different sushi spots.
Only 5? You're getting slow in your old age.
That is just for the first day, Jamie. Give me some credit.
That is more like it. I will start looking at the vintage shops in Harajuku. We're going to need an extra suitcase just for the stuff we buy.
See? This is why we are friends. You understand the necessity of a shopping and eating-focused itinerary.
It is the only way to travel. Now let's go find our passports. I think mine is in the junk drawer.
And mine is... Actually, I have no idea where mine is.
And so it begins. The chaos has started already.
It is part of the charm.
If you say so, Alex. If you say so.
Actually, wait. I think I left it in that bag I used for the weekend trip last month.
Typical. You are the airport dad, but you can't even find your own documents.
Hey, I am a work in progress. At least I have the enthusiasm.
That you do, Alex. That you do. Let's get to work on this plan.
On it. Japan, here we come.
It is going to be legendary.
Beyond legendary. It is going to be iconic.
All right, settle down. Let's actually book the flights first.
Good point. To the laptop.
To the laptop. Thanks again for listening, everyone. We will catch you in the next one.
Safe travels.
Bye.